Control Your Mind First, published by Mindrise Audio. Introduction. Control your mind first. Your life will never rise above the quality of your mind. Think about that for a moment. Every choice you make begins with a thought. Every habit starts with a decision. Every success and every failure is shaped by the conversations happening inside your own head. Most people spend their lives trying to change their circumstances. They change jobs, they change routines, they change goals, yet they never change the one thing that controls everything else: their mind. If your mind is filled with fear, fear will guide your actions. If it is ruled by doubt, doubt will shape your future. If it is distracted, your potential will remain hidden. But when your mind becomes calm, focused, and disciplined, everything around you begins to change. That is what this book is about. This is not a book about becoming perfect. It is a book about becoming aware. It is about learning how your mind works. It is about understanding why negative thoughts appear so easily. It is about recognizing the beliefs that silently control your decisions. Most importantly, it is about discovering that you are not powerless. You can train your mind just as you train your body. The greatest victories are won long before anyone sees them. They happen in quiet moments. They happen when you choose discipline over comfort. They happen when you refuse to let fear make your decisions. They happen when you keep moving forward, even when your emotions tell you to stop. Throughout this book, you will learn practical principles that you can apply every day. You will discover how to overcome limiting beliefs. You will learn to manage your emotions instead of being controlled by them. You will strengthen your focus in a world full of distractions. You will build habits that support lasting mental strength, and you will develop the mindset needed to face challenges with confidence. None of these changes happen overnight. Real transformation is gradual. It happens one thought at a time, one decision at a time, one disciplined action at a time. As you listen, do not rush through the ideas. Take time to reflect. Ask yourself honest questions. Notice your thoughts. Consider how each lesson applies to your own life. Growth begins when knowledge becomes action. Remember this: your mind can be your greatest ally, or it can become your greatest obstacle. The difference depends on who is in control. The good news is that control can be learned. No matter where you are today, you can develop greater clarity. You can build stronger discipline. You can replace fear with courage. You can replace confusion with purpose. And you can create a life directed by intention instead of impulse. This journey begins with a simple decision. A decision to stop letting your thoughts control you. A decision to become the master of your own mind. Because when you control your mind first, everything else becomes possible. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Meet the voice inside your head. There is one voice that has been with you every day of your life. It speaks before you wake up. It speaks while you work. It speaks when you make decisions. It even speaks when the world around you is completely silent. You know this voice well. It is the voice inside your head. Most people hear it without ever noticing it. They believe every word it says. They follow every opinion it offers. They allow it to shape their emotions and guide their choices. Yet very few people stop to ask a simple question: who is really speaking? This question may seem strange at first. After all, the voice sounds like you. It uses your memories. It knows your fears. It remembers your mistakes. It reminds you of embarrassing moments from years ago. It predicts failure before you even begin. Because it sounds familiar, you assume it always tells the truth. But that assumption changes everything. Imagine standing in front of a mirror that has been cracked for many years. Every reflection you see is slightly distorted. After looking into that mirror every day, you begin to believe the reflection is accurate. You stop questioning it because it has become normal. Your inner voice can work in the same way. It does not always reflect reality. Sometimes it reflects fear. Sometimes it reflects old experiences. Sometimes it repeats words that other people once said to you. Without realizing it, you begin living according to stories that may never have been true. This chapter is not about silencing your inner voice. That would be impossible. Instead, it is about learning to recognize it. Awareness always comes before control. Think about a person learning to drive a car. At first, every movement demands attention. The mirrors, the steering wheel, the speed, the road signs, everything feels overwhelming. With practice, the driver becomes aware of each part without panic. Awareness creates confidence. The same principle applies to your mind. The moment you notice your thoughts, instead of automatically believing them, something powerful happens. You create space. In that small space, you gain freedom. Freedom to choose, freedom to respond instead of react. Freedom to decide which thoughts deserve your attention. Many years ago, a young man walked into a job interview that he desperately wanted to succeed in. He had prepared well, he had the right qualifications, he had practiced every answer. But as he waited outside the interview room, another conversation began. It happened inside his own mind. You are not good enough. They will find someone smarter. You always fail at important moments. The interview had not even started. Nothing bad had happened, yet his heart began racing. His confidence disappeared. By the time he entered the room, he was no longer responding to the interview. He was responding to the voice inside his head. Many people have lived this exact story. Perhaps you have too. The circumstances may be different. Maybe it happened before an exam, before giving a presentation, before starting a business, before asking someone for forgiveness, before chasing a dream. The pattern remains the same. An event appears. The inner voice begins speaking. Then your emotions follow. Finally, your actions reflect whatever story your mind accepted. Notice something important. The event itself did not create the outcome. The interpretation did. This is one of the greatest lessons you can learn. Life does not speak to you directly. Your mind interprets life first. That interpretation becomes your experience. This explains why two people can face the same challenge and respond in completely different ways. One person sees an opportunity, the other sees disaster. One becomes curious, the other becomes afraid. The difference often begins with the conversation happening inside their minds. Your inner voice was not created overnight. It has been shaped over many years. Every success added something. Every failure added something. Every compliment left a mark. Every criticism left a mark. Parents, teachers, friends, society, books, movies, social media. Each one has influenced the language your mind now speaks. Some messages helped you grow. Others quietly limited your potential. Imagine a child learning to ride a bicycle. The first few attempts end with small falls. If someone patiently says, "Keep trying," you are learning. The child develops confidence. Now imagine hearing different words. "You always mess things up. You will never learn. You should stop trying." Those words may last only seconds. Their impact can last for years. Long after the people disappear, their voices may continue speaking through your own thoughts. This is why awareness matters so much. Many thoughts are not original, they are borrowed. They have simply become familiar through repetition. The human mind loves repetition. Whatever you hear often begins to feel true. Advertisers understand this. Teachers understand this. Great leaders understand this. Unfortunately, fear understands it too. If your inner voice repeats the same negative message every day, your brain slowly accepts it as reality. That is why protecting your inner dialogue is one of the most important responsibilities you have. Fortunately, the mind can also learn new patterns. Just as negative thinking becomes familiar through repetition, healthy thinking can become familiar as well. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about speaking truth instead of fear. Suppose you make a mistake at work. One inner voice says, "I am a failure." Another says, "I made a mistake. I can learn from it." Both voices acknowledge the same event. Only one creates growth. The other creates shame. Your future depends on which voice you strengthen. Here is a simple exercise. You can begin today. For the next few days, listen to your thoughts without trying to change them. Become an observer. Notice what your inner voice says when you wake up. Notice what it says when something goes wrong. Notice what it says when someone criticizes you. Notice what it says when something good happens. Do not judge yourself. Simply observe. You may discover patterns that have quietly controlled your life for years. Perhaps your mind expects rejection. Perhaps it fears failure. Perhaps it constantly compares you with other people. Perhaps it refuses to celebrate your achievements because it always demands more. Observation creates understanding. Understanding creates choice. Choice creates change. Here is another practice. Whenever your inner voice makes a strong negative statement, pause for a moment. Ask yourself one question. Is this a fact, or is this only a story? This question is surprisingly powerful. Facts are real. Stories are interpretations. For example, failing one exam is a fact. Saying, "My future is ruined," is a story. Receiving criticism is a fact. Saying, "Nobody respects me," is a story. Feeling nervous before a challenge is a fact. Saying, "I will definitely fail," is a story. The more often you separate facts from stories, the clearer your thinking becomes. Over time, your emotional reactions become calmer because you are no longer treating every fearful thought as absolute truth. Remember this. Your mind is an incredible tool. It solves problems. It creates ideas. It imagines possibilities. It helps you survive. But it was never meant to become your master. It was meant to become your servant. That change begins with awareness. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. As you continue listening to this book, you will discover practical ways to guide your thoughts instead of being guided by them. You will learn how beliefs are formed. You will understand why emotions become so powerful. You will build habits that strengthen your focus and your discipline. Every lesson begins with this simple truth. You are not the voice inside your head. You are the one who hears it. And the moment you recognize that difference, you take the first real step toward controlling your mind before it controls you. Chapter 2. Why your mind works against you. Have you ever promised yourself that you would change? Maybe you decided to wake up earlier. Maybe you planned to exercise every day. Maybe you wanted to stop worrying so much, or finally begin a project that mattered. For a short time, you felt motivated. Then something happened. You started making excuses. You delayed your plans. You doubted yourself. Soon, you found yourself back where you started. If this has happened to you, you are not alone. Most people believe they lack discipline. They believe they are lazy. They think something is wrong with them. The truth is often very different. Your mind is not designed to make life easy. Its first job is to keep you alive. Long before modern cities existed, our ancestors faced constant danger. They had to watch for predators, harsh weather, and the possibility of not finding enough food. A careless decision could mean the difference between life and death. Because of that, the human brain evolved with one main priority: survival. Even though the world has changed, your brain still follows many of the same ancient rules. It is always asking one silent question: am I safe? That question influences far more of your life than you may realize. When you want to try something new, your mind notices the uncertainty. When you want to speak in front of a crowd, your mind notices the risk of embarrassment. When you want to leave a comfortable job to pursue a dream, your mind notices the possibility of failure. To your conscious mind, these situations are opportunities. To your survival system, they look like danger. This is why your mind often seems to work against you. It is trying to protect you. The problem is that what protects you from discomfort can also prevent you from growing. Imagine standing at the edge of a cold swimming pool. You know the water will feel freezing for the first few seconds. Every part of your body wants to stay on the warm deck. your mind begins offering suggestions. Maybe tomorrow. You are already comfortable. It is not that important. Those thoughts feel reasonable. But once you finally jump in, something surprising happens. After a short time, your body adjusts. The water no longer feels unbearable. Many challenges in life follow the same pattern. The hardest part is not doing the work. The hardest part is convincing your mind to begin. Your brain prefers what is familiar. Familiar does not always mean good. It simply means known. A person may stay in an unhealthy relationship because it feels familiar. Someone may remain in a job they dislike because it feels predictable. Another person may continue harmful habits because change feels uncertain. The mind often chooses familiar discomfort over unfamiliar possibility. This explains why change can feel so difficult. You are not only changing your actions, you are challenging a system that has spent years trying to keep everything predictable. Consider a simple example. Imagine driving home after work. Without thinking, you follow the same roads, you stop at the same traffic lights, you make the same turns. One day, you decide to visit a friend's new house. Even with a navigation system, you may accidentally begin driving toward your own home. Why? Because your brain loves habits. Habits save energy. They allow the mind to work on autopilot. This is helpful when brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. It becomes harmful when unhealthy thinking also becomes automatic. Some people automatically expect rejection. Others automatically imagine the worst possible outcome. Some immediately criticize themselves after making a small mistake. These reactions become mental habits, and like all habits, they grow stronger through repetition. The good news is that habits can be changed, but first you must understand another important part of your mind. It pays much more attention to negative experiences than positive ones. Think about your last conversation with several people. Perhaps 9 of them were kind. One person criticized you. Which conversation stayed in your mind the longest? For most people, it was the criticism. This is called the negativity bias. Your brain remembers possible threats more easily than pleasant moments. From a survival perspective, this makes sense. Remembering danger helped our ancestors stay alive. Today, however, this same tendency can fill our minds with unnecessary worry. One mistake can overshadow 10 successes. One rejection can erase years of progress in our thoughts. One negative comment online can ruin an otherwise wonderful day. The event may last only seconds. The mind keeps replaying it for hours, sometimes even for years. Have you ever replayed an embarrassing moment from the past? Perhaps it happened 5 years ago. Perhaps nobody else even remembers it. Yet your mind continues bringing it back. That is because your brain believes reviewing painful experiences may protect you from repeating them. Unfortunately, it often creates anxiety instead of wisdom. There is another way your mind tries to protect you. It constantly predicts the future. Imagine you receive a message from your manager. "We need to talk tomorrow." Immediately, your thoughts begin racing. Did I make a mistake? Am I losing my job? What if something terrible happened? By the next morning, you have imagined 10 different disasters. Then the meeting begins. Your manager simply wants to discuss a new project. Nothing was wrong. Your mind created suffering long before reality arrived. This happens every day. People suffer from conversations that never happen. They fear failures that never come. They argue with imaginary people inside their own thoughts. The mind believes that preparing for the worst will reduce pain. In reality, it often multiplies it. There is an old story about a traveler walking through a forest. As the sun began to set, every shadow looked dangerous. Each sound felt like a hidden threat. His heart raced with fear. Finally, he reached a small village. The villagers laughed kindly when they heard his story. The frightening sounds had come from birds. The moving shadows were only tree branches. Nothing had been chasing him. His fear came from the stories his mind created in the darkness. Many of our daily worries are similar. The danger feels real, the story is not. This does not mean your fears are foolish. They feel real because your brain is doing what it was designed to do. The key is learning when to thank your mind for trying to protect you and when to gently remind it that you are safe. So how do you begin changing this pattern? Start by becoming curious instead of critical. When fear appears, do not immediately fight it. Ask yourself a simple question. What is my mind trying to protect me from? Sometimes the answer will surprise you. You may discover that your fear of public speaking is actually a fear of rejection. Your fear of starting a business may be a fear of looking unsuccessful. Your fear of making mistakes may come from wanting everyone's approval. Understanding the deeper fear gives you the power to address it. Another helpful practice is to separate discomfort from danger. They are not the same. Giving a presentation is uncomfortable. It is rarely dangerous. Starting a new habit is uncomfortable. It is not dangerous. Having an honest conversation is uncomfortable. It is often necessary. The more often you remind yourself of this difference, the less control fear has over your decisions. Here is another exercise you can use. The next time your mind predicts a terrible outcome, pause before believing it. Ask yourself 3 questions. What evidence do I have? What else could happen? What would I tell a close friend in this situation? These questions interrupt automatic thinking. They give your rational mind a chance to respond instead of allowing fear to take over. Remember that courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward even while fear is speaking. Your mind may continue warning you. That is normal. The goal is not to eliminate every fearful thought. The goal is to stop letting those thoughts make every decision. Every strong and successful person has faced the same internal battle. The difference is not that they never experience fear. The difference is that they understand where fear comes from. They recognize that the mind often confuses growth with danger. They choose progress anyway. As you continue this journey, keep one important truth close to your heart. Your mind is not your enemy. It is an overprotective guardian. It wants to keep you safe, but if you allow it to control every choice, it will also keep you small. Real growth begins the moment you understand this. You can appreciate your mind for trying to protect you. You can listen to its warnings, but you do not have to obey every fearful thought it creates, because your future should not be shaped by the limits of your fear. It should be shaped by the strength of your purpose, and that purpose becomes clearer every time you choose growth over comfort and courage over hesitation. Chapter 3. Break the chains of limiting beliefs. Every person lives by a set of beliefs. Some beliefs lift us higher, others quietly hold us back. The strange part is that many of these beliefs were never chosen. They were accepted. They entered our minds when we were young. They grew stronger through repetition. After enough time, they became part of the way we saw ourselves and the world. Most people never stop to examine them. They simply live by them. Imagine wearing a pair of glasses with dark lenses. If you have worn them since childhood, you may not even realize they are there. The world appears darker than it really is. You believe that is simply how life looks. Limiting beliefs work in the same way. They change the way you see opportunities. They change the way you see challenges. Most importantly, they change the way you see yourself. This chapter is about removing those invisible lenses, because you cannot become the person you are capable of becoming while believing that you are less than you truly are. Let us begin with a simple question. What is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is an idea that convinces you that something is impossible even when it is not. It whispers quiet messages. I am not smart enough. I am too old. I am too young. I never finish what I start. People like me do not succeed. I always fail. These thoughts may seem harmless, but repeated often enough, they become instructions. Your mind begins looking for evidence to prove them right. Suppose you believe that you are bad at learning new skills. One day, you decide to learn a new language. The first lesson feels difficult. Immediately, your mind says, "See, I knew this would happen." You become discouraged. You stop practicing. Weeks later, you tell yourself, "I was right. I cannot learn languages." The belief created the outcome, not because it was true, because it influenced your actions. This is how limiting beliefs quietly control lives. Many years ago, a teacher gave two groups of students the same puzzle. Before they began, the first group was told, "This puzzle is very difficult. Most people fail." The second group heard something different. "This puzzle is challenging, but people usually solve it if they stay patient." Both groups received exactly the same puzzle. Yet the second group worked longer. They stayed calmer. They found more solutions. Nothing about the puzzle changed. Only the belief changed. The lesson is powerful. What you expect influences how you perform. Your beliefs shape your effort. Your effort shapes your results. Your results then strengthen your beliefs. This creates a cycle. If the cycle is positive, it builds confidence. If the cycle is negative, it builds limitation. Many limiting beliefs begin long before adulthood. Imagine a child learning to draw. The child proudly shows the picture to an adult. If the adult smiles and says, "You have a wonderful imagination," the child feels encouraged. Now imagine another response. "That does not look right. You are not good at drawing." The child may remember those words for years. Perhaps the child never draws again, not because drawing was impossible, because one opinion became a personal belief. Children believe what they hear repeatedly. Adults often continue believing those same messages without realizing it. Some people grow up hearing that money is always difficult. Others hear that success belongs only to lucky people. Some are told not to dream too big. Others learn to avoid failure at all costs. These ideas quietly become part of their identity. Eventually they stop sounding like someone else's opinion. They sound like the truth. But opinions are not facts, and old stories are not permanent realities. Think about an elephant in a circus. When the elephant is young, a heavy chain is tied around one leg. The animal tries to escape. Again and again it pulls against the chain. Again and again it fails. Eventually it stops trying. Years later, the fully grown elephant is powerful enough to break the chain with almost no effort. But it never does. The chain is no longer holding the elephant. The belief is. Many people live the same way. They are held back by experiences that no longer have power. Perhaps they failed once. Perhaps someone laughed at their dream. Perhaps they were rejected. The event ended years ago, yet the belief remained. The chain became invisible. The mind accepted it as permanent. The good news is that beliefs can change, but first they must be questioned. One of the greatest mistakes people make is treating every thought as a fact. A thought is simply a thought. It is not evidence. It is not destiny. It is not your identity. Imagine someone saying, "I am terrible at public speaking." Ask one simple question. Always? Most people pause. Perhaps they spoke confidently with friends. Perhaps they explained something well to a family member. Perhaps they gave a successful presentation once. The belief begins to weaken because it is no longer absolute. This is an important lesson. Limiting beliefs often survive because they are never challenged. The moment you begin asking better questions, your mind begins searching for better answers. Here is a practical exercise. Take a piece of paper. Write down one belief that has been holding you back. Perhaps it is, "I am not confident." Now ask yourself 3 questions. Where did this belief come from? Is it completely true? What evidence proves the opposite? Take your time. You may discover moments you had forgotten. Times when you were brave, times when you solved difficult problems, times when you helped others. These moments are evidence. They remind you that your identity is larger than your fears. Now create a new belief, not one based on fantasy, one based on truth. Instead of saying, "I am fearless," say, "I am becoming more confident every time I face my fears." Instead of saying, "I always fail," say, "Every experience teaches me something valuable." Notice the difference. The new belief is realistic. It allows room for growth. The mind accepts realistic progress more easily than impossible perfection. Another powerful way to break limiting beliefs is through action. Many people wait until they believe in themselves before taking the first step. Life rarely works that way. Confidence usually follows action. Imagine someone who wants to learn to swim. Reading books about swimming helps. Watching videos helps. Listening to experts helps. But eventually one thing must happen. The person must enter the water. Only experience can replace fear with confidence. The same is true for your goals. Action gives your brain new evidence. Each small success tells your mind, "Perhaps I was wrong." One completed project weakens the belief that you never finish anything. One honest conversation weakens the belief that you cannot express yourself. One new opportunity weakens the belief that change is impossible. Progress does not happen through thinking alone. It happens through thinking followed by action. You should also pay close attention to the people around you. Beliefs are contagious. Spend enough time with people who complain constantly, and negativity begins to feel normal. Spend time with people who believe growth is possible, and your own thinking begins to expand. This does not mean surrounding yourself with people who ignore reality. It means choosing people who face reality with courage instead of surrender. The voices you hear every day eventually become part of your own inner voice. Choose those voices wisely. Remember that every remarkable achievement in history began with someone refusing to accept a limiting belief. Someone believed that diseases could be cured. Someone believed that people could fly. Someone believed that impossible mountains could be climbed. Someone believed that ordinary people could create extraordinary lives. The world changed because those beliefs changed. Now think about your own life. What dream have you postponed because of an old story? What opportunity have you avoided because of fear? What ability have you underestimated? Perhaps the only thing standing between you and your next chapter is a belief that no longer deserves your trust. As you continue this journey, remember one simple truth. Your past may explain your beliefs. It does not have to define them. You are not trapped by yesterday's experiences. You are shaped by today's decisions. Every time you challenge a limiting belief, you weaken its hold. Every time you take action despite fear, you strengthen your confidence. Every time you replace an old story with a truthful one, you create a new future. The chains that hold most people are rarely made of iron. They are made of assumptions. They are made of doubt. They are made of stories repeated for so long that they seem permanent. But they are not permanent. They can be questioned. They can be broken. And when they are, you discover something that was true all along. The greatest limits in your life were never outside you. They were inside your mind. The moment you free your mind from those limits, you begin to discover the person you were always capable of becoming. Chapter 4. Master your emotions before they master you. Every day, your emotions make thousands of silent suggestions. They tell you when to speak. They tell you when to stay quiet. They tell you when to move forward. They also tell you when to give up. The question is not whether you have emotions. Everyone does. The real question is this: who is in control? Are your emotions serving you, or are they leading your life? Many people believe that successful people never feel fear, anger, sadness, or disappointment. That is not true. The strongest people experience the same emotions as everyone else. The difference is that they do not allow those emotions to become their leader. They let emotions become information, not instructions. This is one of the most valuable lessons you can ever learn. Your emotions deserve to be heard. but they should not always be obeyed. Imagine you are driving a car on a long journey. The dashboard contains many warning lights. If the fuel light appears, it tells you something important. If the engine light comes on, it asks for your attention. The lights provide information. They do not take control of the steering wheel. Your emotions work in a similar way. Fear tells you to pay attention. Anger tells you that something feels unfair. Sadness reminds you that something matters. Joy reminds you to appreciate the present moment. Each emotion carries a message. The problem begins when the message becomes the driver. Think about a time when you were angry. Perhaps someone insulted you. Perhaps a coworker treated you unfairly. Perhaps a family member disappointed you. In that moment, your emotions probably felt completely justified. You wanted to react immediately. Maybe you wanted to shout. Maybe you wanted to send a harsh message. Maybe you wanted to walk away forever. If you had acted only on that emotion, what would have happened? Would the situation have improved, or would it have become even more painful? Many of life's greatest regrets begin with a single emotional reaction. A few angry words, one careless decision, one moment of impatience. The action lasts seconds. The consequences may last years. This is why emotional mastery is so important. It protects your future from your temporary feelings. There is an old story about a wise teacher and a young student. The student asked, "How can I stop feeling angry?" The teacher smiled and replied, "Do not try to stop the storm. Learn not to build your house in its path." The student looked confused. The teacher continued, "Storms always come. Your job is not to prevent them. Your job is to prepare for them." Life works the same way. You cannot prevent every emotion. You cannot avoid disappointment. You cannot escape fear. You cannot eliminate frustration, but you can prepare yourself so those emotions no longer control your actions. One reason emotions feel so powerful is because they happen quickly. Imagine touching a hot stove. You pull your hand away before you even think about it. Your brain reacts instantly to protect you. Emotional reactions often happen in the same way. Someone criticizes you. Your heart beats faster. Your muscles tighten. Your thoughts race. Before your logical mind has time to respond, your emotions have already begun speaking. This explains why people often say things they later regret. The emotion arrived first. The wisdom arrived later. Fortunately, there is a simple skill that changes everything. It is called the pause. The pause may last only a few seconds, but those few seconds can change the direction of your life. When strong emotions appear, pause before reacting. Take one slow breath. Ask yourself one question. What response will I be proud of tomorrow? This question shifts your attention away from the emotion and toward the outcome. It reminds you that today's decision creates tomorrow's reality. Consider a real-world example. A manager receives an angry email from a client. His first instinct is to respond immediately. His emotions tell him to defend himself. Instead, he closes the computer. He takes a short walk. He returns 30 minutes later. Now his mind is calmer. His response is respectful. The problem is solved peacefully. The situation did not improve because the client changed. It improved because the manager did. Emotional control often changes relationships more than changing other people ever will. Another important truth is that emotions are temporary. No emotion lasts forever. Think back to the happiest day of your life. Perhaps it was your graduation, your wedding, the birth of a child. That joyful feeling eventually became quieter. Now remember one of your hardest days. Perhaps you believed the sadness would never end. Yet here you are. The emotion passed. This reminds us of something important. Feelings are visitors. They arrive, they stay for a while, then they leave. Problems begin when we treat temporary emotions as permanent realities. A person feels lonely for one evening. The mind says, "I will always be alone." Someone experiences one failure. The mind says, "My life is falling apart." A single emotional moment becomes a lifelong conclusion. This is rarely true. One emotion should never define your identity. Let us talk about fear. Fear is one of the strongest emotions we experience. In many situations, fear protects us. It keeps us away from genuine danger. But fear also appears when growth is near. Think about your first day at a new job, your first speech, your first business idea, your first difficult conversation. Fear does not always mean stop. Sometimes it means you are entering unfamiliar territory. Many successful people have admitted that they still feel nervous before important moments. The difference is simple. They do not interpret fear as a signal to quit. They interpret it as a sign that something meaningful is about to happen. Now let us talk about anger. Anger is often misunderstood. Anger itself is not the enemy. Uncontrolled anger is. Anger can reveal that something needs to change. It can expose injustice. It can motivate action. But anger without wisdom destroys trust. Imagine holding a piece of burning coal because you want to throw it at someone else. Who gets burned first? You do. Holding on to resentment works in much the same way. Many people carry anger for years. The other person has moved on. Life continues. Yet the one holding the anger continues suffering. Forgiveness does not always mean approving what happened. It means refusing to let yesterday's pain continue controlling today's peace. Now consider worry. Many people spend hours worrying about events that never happen. The mind believes worry creates preparation. Often it creates exhaustion instead. Ask yourself this question whenever worry appears. Can I control this? If the answer is yes, take one small action. If the answer is no, practice letting it go. Worry without action changes nothing. Action without unnecessary worry changes everything. Another powerful habit is learning to name your emotions. Instead of saying, "Everything is terrible," be specific. I feel disappointed. I feel nervous. I feel frustrated. Naming an emotion reduces confusion. It transforms a storm into something you can understand. Research has shown that simply identifying an emotion can reduce its intensity. Awareness creates distance. Distance creates control. Here is a simple exercise you can practice every day. At the end of each evening, ask yourself 3 questions. What emotion did I feel most today? What caused it? How did I respond? Do this honestly, not to judge yourself, to understand yourself. Patterns will begin to appear. You may discover that stress makes you impatient. Perhaps lack of sleep makes you anxious. Maybe certain situations trigger self-doubt. The better you understand your emotional patterns, the easier they become to manage. Remember this important truth. Your emotions are real, but they are not always reliable. Feeling afraid does not mean you are in danger. Feeling rejected does not mean you have no value. Feeling discouraged does not mean success is impossible. Emotions describe your current experience. They do not predict your future. As you continue growing, your goal is not to become emotionless. That would make you less human. Your goal is to become emotionally intelligent, to recognize what you feel, to understand why you feel it, and to choose your response with wisdom instead of impulse. This is the difference between reacting and leading. Anyone can react. Leadership begins with self-control. The strongest people are not those who never cry. They are not those who never feel fear. They are not those who never become angry. The strongest people are those who remain faithful to their values even when their emotions try to pull them in another direction. That is true strength. That is true freedom. Every moment of emotional control is an investment in your future. Every calm response strengthens your character. Every thoughtful decision builds your confidence. Every time you choose wisdom over impulse, you become a little stronger than you were the day before. Remember the lesson that will guide you long after this chapter ends. You cannot always control what you feel, but you can always choose what you do next. And that choice has the power to shape your relationships, your success, your peace, and ultimately, your life. Master your emotions before they master you, because the person who leads their emotions is the person who truly leads themselves. Chapter 5. Silence the noise and sharpen your focus. Your attention is one of the most valuable things you own. Once a moment of attention is gone, you can never get it back. You can earn more money, you can learn new skills, you can rebuild your strength, but you can never recover wasted time. That is why learning to focus is one of the greatest investments you can make. The world has never been louder than it is today. Every day, thousands of voices compete for your attention. Notifications appear on your phone, emails arrive without warning. Social media offers endless entertainment. News headlines demand your concern. Advertisements promise happiness. Opinions come from every direction. Without realizing it, your mind becomes crowded. When your mind is crowded, your focus becomes weak. When your focus becomes weak, your progress slows down. Many people believe they have a lack of discipline. In reality, they often have a lack of attention. Imagine trying to read a book while 10 people are talking around you. Even if the book is interesting, your concentration begins to fade. Now imagine carrying those 10 voices inside your own mind. That is how many people live every day. Their thoughts jump from one idea to another. Before finishing one task, they begin thinking about the next. While eating dinner, they think about tomorrow's work. While working, they think about messages on their phone. While spending time with family, they think about unfinished tasks. Their body is in one place. Their mind is somewhere else. This constant mental movement quietly steals the joy from everyday life. Focus is not simply the ability to pay attention, it is the ability to decide what deserves your attention. Everything else becomes background noise. Think about a photographer taking a portrait. The camera focuses sharply on one person. The background becomes soft and blurry. Nothing disappears. The camera simply decides what matters most. Your mind works the same way. You cannot give equal attention to everything. If everything feels important, nothing truly is. Successful people understand this principle. They do not try to do everything. They choose what matters most. Then they protect their attention with great care. There is a story about a young musician who wanted to become a master pianist. He visited an experienced teacher and asked for advice. The teacher listened carefully. Then he asked one question: "How many hours each day do you practice without interruption?" The young man smiled proudly. "I practice all day." The teacher shook his head. "No, you sit at the piano all day. That is different." The young man looked confused. The teacher continued, "If your phone interrupts you every few minutes, if your thoughts wander constantly, and if your attention is divided, you are not practicing, you are only pretending to practice." Those words changed the young man's life. Instead of practicing longer, he practiced with complete attention. Within a few years, his skill improved more than ever before. The lesson is simple. The quality of your focus matters more than the quantity of your time. Many people spend hours working. Very few spend hours fully concentrating. One of the greatest enemies of focus is distraction. Distractions do not always appear as obvious interruptions. Sometimes they arrive disguised as important tasks. Imagine sitting down to write an important report. A message appears on your phone. You decide to check it for just a minute. 1 minute becomes 10. Then you remember another task. You open another website. Soon you forget why you sat down in the first place. Nothing dramatic happened, yet your attention quietly drifted away. This happens because the brain enjoys novelty. Every new notification offers a small feeling of excitement. Over time, the mind begins craving constant stimulation. Silence starts to feel uncomfortable. Stillness feels unfamiliar. Many people can no longer sit quietly for 5 minutes without reaching for a screen. This is not because they are weak. It is because their attention has been trained to expect constant activity. The encouraging news is that attention can also be trained in the opposite direction. Focus is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The less you use it, the weaker it grows. Imagine visiting a gym for the first time. Lifting a heavy weight feels difficult. Your muscles become tired quickly. If you continue training consistently, your strength increases. Mental focus develops in exactly the same way. It improves through consistent practice, not through perfection. One simple habit can make an enormous difference. Learn to do one thing at a time. This sounds almost too simple, yet it has become surprisingly rare. When you are reading, just read. When you are eating, just eat. When you are listening, truly listen. When you are working, give your full attention to the task before you. Your mind will try to wander. That is normal. Each time you gently return your attention, you strengthen your ability to focus. Think about sunlight. On a normal day, sunlight warms your skin. But when a magnifying glass concentrates those same rays into one small point, the light becomes powerful enough to create fire. Your attention works the same way. Scattered attention produces scattered results. Focused attention creates extraordinary progress. There is another hidden source of mental noise. It comes from unfinished thoughts. Have you ever tried to concentrate while remembering something you forgot to do? Perhaps you needed to return a phone call. Perhaps you had an unpaid bill. Perhaps you promised someone you would complete a task. These unfinished responsibilities quietly occupy mental space. Your brain keeps reminding you because it does not want you to forget. A simple solution is to write things down. Do not expect your mind to remember everything. Your mind is designed for thinking, not for storing endless reminders. Keeping a notebook or a simple task list frees your attention for the work that matters. Another challenge to focus is comparison. Many people lose concentration because they spend too much time watching other people's lives. They compare careers, they compare relationships, they compare achievements, they compare appearances. Instead of building their own future, they become distracted by someone else's journey. Comparison creates mental noise. Gratitude creates mental clarity. When you appreciate what you already have, your attention naturally returns to your own path. Remember this. You cannot improve a life you are not paying attention to. One day, a gardener noticed that weeds were growing faster than his flowers. He became frustrated. Every morning he watered the entire garden. Soon he realized something important. He was feeding everything equally, not just the flowers. Our attention works in the same way. Whatever receives your attention begins to grow. If you constantly focus on fear, fear grows. If you constantly focus on problems, problems appear larger. If you focus on learning, gratitude and meaningful work, those qualities become stronger. Attention is like water. It gives life to whatever it touches. This is why choosing your focus is so important. Here is a practical exercise. For 1 week, notice where your attention goes throughout the day. Do not judge yourself. Simply observe. How many times do you check your phone? How often do you interrupt yourself? How much time do you spend worrying about things beyond your control? Awareness always comes before improvement. Now choose one activity each day that deserves your complete attention. Perhaps it is reading for 30 minutes. Perhaps it is exercising. Perhaps it is having dinner with your family. During that time, remove every unnecessary distraction. Silence your phone. Close extra tabs. Turn off notifications. Be fully present. At first, your mind may resist. It has become accustomed to constant stimulation. Stay patient. Each day becomes easier. Another powerful habit is protecting the beginning of your morning. The first moments after waking often shape the rest of the day. If you immediately fill your mind with messages, news, and social media, your attention belongs to everyone except yourself. Instead, begin your day with intention. Spend a few quiet minutes thinking, read something meaningful, review your goals. Take a deep breath before the noise of the world enters your mind. How you begin often determines how you continue. It is also important to understand the value of rest. Many people believe focus comes from working longer. Often it comes from recovering better. A tired mind struggles to concentrate. Sleep, quiet reflection, and moments of peace are not signs of weakness. They are part of mental strength. Even the sharpest knife becomes dull without proper care. Your mind deserves the same attention. As you move through life, remember that not every voice deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your energy. Not every distraction deserves your time. You have the right to choose what enters your mind. You have the responsibility to protect what remains there. Every great achievement begins with focused attention. Books are written one page at a time. Businesses are built one decision at a time. Skills are mastered one practice session at a time. Strong relationships grow through moments of undivided presence. Great lives are built by people who learn to concentrate on what truly matters. The world will continue making noise. There will always be another notification, another opinion, another distraction. You cannot silence the entire world, but you can create peace within your own mind. And when that happens, something remarkable begins to change. Your thoughts become clearer. Your decisions become wiser. Your work becomes deeper. Your relationships become stronger. Your life begins moving in the direction of your attention. Never forget this simple truth. Where your focus goes, your life follows. Protect it, strengthen it, use it wisely. Because a focused mind is not only more productive, it is also calmer, stronger, and far more capable of becoming the person you were created to be. Chapter 6. Build habits that strengthen the mind. Success is rarely created by one big decision. It is created by thousands of small ones. Every day, you make choices without even thinking about them. You decide when to wake up. You decide what to eat. You decide how to spend your time. You decide what deserves your attention. Most of these decisions happen automatically. They have become habits. Your habits are quietly shaping your future. The life you live today is largely the result of the habits you practiced yesterday. The life you will live tomorrow depends on the habits you choose today. This is why habits matter so much. They are the invisible architects of your character. Many people wait for motivation before taking action. They tell themselves, "I will start when I feel ready. I will exercise when I feel motivated. I will read when I have more energy. I will work harder when inspiration comes." The problem is simple. Motivation is unreliable. Some days it arrives, some days it disappears. If your progress depends only on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. Habits are different. They do not depend on emotion. They depend on repetition. Imagine brushing your teeth. Most days you do not wake up feeling excited about it. You simply do it. It has become part of your life. That is the power of habit. It removes the need to make the same decision over and over again. The strongest minds are not built by occasional moments of inspiration. They are built by consistent daily actions. Think about a farmer planting seeds. He does not plant one seed and expect to harvest the next morning. He prepares the soil, he waters the field, he protects the growing plants. Day after day, he repeats the same simple actions. For a long time, nothing dramatic seems to happen. Then one day, the field begins to change. Growth was taking place all along. It simply could not be seen. Your mind grows the same way. Every positive habit is a seed. Each day you practice it, the roots grow deeper. The results may not appear immediately, but they are coming. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to change everything at once. They create impossible schedules. They promise to wake up at 5 in the morning, exercise every day, read 3 books each week, meditate for an hour, completely change their diet, work twice as hard. For a few days, everything feels exciting. Then reality arrives. The schedule becomes exhausting. The habits disappear. Soon they believe they have failed. The problem was never their ability. The problem was their strategy. Real change begins small, very small. Imagine pushing a large stone across a field. At first it barely moves. The effort feels enormous. Eventually the stone begins rolling. Now every push becomes easier because momentum has been created. Habits work in exactly the same way. Small actions repeated consistently become powerful over time. Instead of reading 50 pages, begin with 5. Instead of exercising for 2 hours, begin with 10 minutes. Instead of trying to meditate perfectly, sit quietly for 3 minutes. The size of the beginning matters less than the consistency of the practice. Remember this. Small habits are not small when they are repeated for years. Consider the story of a young violin student. She dreamed of becoming a concert musician. Instead of practicing only when she felt inspired, she made one simple promise. Every day, she would practice for at least 20 minutes. Some days she practiced much longer. Some days she stopped after 20 minutes. But she never skipped the habit. Years later, people admired her talent. Few people realized they were actually admiring her consistency. Talent may open a door. Habits keep the door open. Another important truth is that your environment influences your habits. Imagine placing a bowl of fresh fruit on your kitchen table. You see it every day. Eventually you begin eating more fruit. Now imagine replacing it with candy. Without thinking, your behavior changes. The environment quietly shapes your choices. The same principle applies to your mind. If your workspace is filled with distractions, staying focused becomes difficult. If your phone constantly demands your attention, concentration becomes harder. If negative voices surround you every day, hopeful thinking becomes a challenge. You cannot always control your environment, but you can improve it. Make good habits easier. Make unhealthy habits harder. If you want to read more, keep a book nearby. If you want to spend less time on your phone, place it in another room while working. Small changes in your surroundings often create big changes in your behavior. There is another secret to lasting habits. Connect them to your identity. Many people say, "I want to exercise." A stronger statement is different. "I am becoming a healthy person." Someone says, "I want to write." A stronger belief is, "I am becoming a writer." Notice the difference. The first focuses on an action. The second focuses on identity. When your habits become part of who you believe you are, they become much easier to maintain. Every action becomes a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you choose discipline, you strengthen the identity of a disciplined person. Every time you choose honesty, you strengthen the identity of an honest person. Every time you choose kindness, you strengthen the identity of a kind person. Character is built one decision at a time. It is also important to understand the danger of perfection. Many people quit because they miss one day. They think, "I have already failed," so they stop completely. Do not let one mistake become two. Missing one day is an event. Giving up is a decision. If you skip one workout, return tomorrow. If you miss one reading session, begin again the next day. Progress is not destroyed by occasional mistakes. It is destroyed by the belief that mistakes mean the journey is over. Imagine climbing a mountain. You slip on one rock. Would you walk back to the bottom? Of course not. You regain your balance. Then you continue climbing. Treat your habits the same way. Another powerful habit is keeping promises to yourself. When you promise yourself something and fail to follow through, your confidence quietly weakens. Your mind begins questioning your own words. But every time you keep a promise to yourself, trust grows. Self-confidence is built through self-respect, and self-respect grows every time your actions match your intentions. One simple way to strengthen this habit is to make fewer promises. Choose realistic goals, then honor them. It is better to complete one meaningful habit every day than to abandon 10 impossible ones. Let us talk about morning routines. The way you begin your day often influences everything that follows. If your morning begins with rushing, stress, and distraction, your mind carries that energy into the rest of the day. Instead, create a simple routine. Wake up with purpose, drink water, spend a few moments in silence, read something encouraging, review your goals, move your body. You do not need an elaborate schedule, you need consistency. A calm morning often creates a focused day. Evening habits matter just as much. Before going to sleep, spend a few minutes reflecting. Ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? What can I improve tomorrow? What am I grateful for? These simple questions train your mind to learn instead of judge. Growth becomes a daily practice. Gratitude becomes a daily habit. Another important habit is protecting your words. The language you use shapes the way you think. Instead of saying, "I have to," try saying, "I choose to." Instead of saying, "I cannot," ask, "How can I?" Small changes in language create powerful changes in mindset. Words influence belief. Belief influences action. Action influences destiny. Do not overlook the habit of rest. Many people believe constant work creates strength. Constant exhaustion creates weakness. Your mind needs recovery. Sleep is not wasted time. Quiet moments are not laziness. Reflection is not unproductive. Rest allows your mind to recover so it can perform at its best. A rested mind makes better decisions. It solves problems more clearly. It responds with greater patience. One of the greatest habits you can build is lifelong learning. Read books, listen carefully, ask thoughtful questions, stay curious. The moment you believe you know everything, growth begins to slow. A strong mind never stops learning. It remains humble enough to improve. Finally, remember that habits are not only about what you do, they are also about what you avoid. Avoid unnecessary negativity. Avoid constant comparison. Avoid wasting hours on things that add no value to your life. Every habit either strengthens your mind or weakens it. Choose carefully. Years from now, people may admire your success. They may praise your discipline. They may wonder how you became so confident and focused. Most of them will never see the small decisions that created those results. They will not see the quiet mornings, the repeated practice, the moments when you chose growth over comfort, the evenings when you prepared for another day instead of making excuses. Yet those invisible moments are where your future is truly created. Remember this simple truth. Your habits become your character. Your character becomes your destiny. You do not change your life in one extraordinary moment. You change it through ordinary moments repeated with extraordinary consistency. Build habits that strengthen your mind. Protect them, practice them, trust them, because one disciplined day may seem ordinary, but hundreds of disciplined days have the power to transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. Chapter 7. Turn challenges into mental strength. No one chooses a life without challenges. No one wakes up hoping for disappointment. No one asks for failure, loss, or uncertainty. Yet every meaningful life includes all of them. The question is not whether you will face difficult moments. The question is what those moments will make of you. Some people allow challenges to break their confidence. Others allow the same challenges to build their character. The difference is rarely found in the situation itself. It is found in the mindset of the person facing it. Imagine 2 trees growing side by side. One grows in a place where there is no wind. The other stands where strong winds blow every season. At first, the tree in calm weather appears fortunate. It grows quickly. Its branches spread easily. But the second tree faces resistance every day. Its roots dig deeper into the ground. its trunk becomes stronger. Years later, when a powerful storm arrives, the first tree falls. The second remains standing. The wind that seemed like an enemy became the reason for its strength. Life often works the same way. The difficulties you wish would disappear may be developing the strength you will one day depend on. This does not mean challenges are enjoyable. Pain is still painful. Loss is still difficult. Failure still hurts. The goal is not to pretend otherwise. The goal is to discover that even painful experiences can produce wisdom, courage, and resilience. Many people believe mental strength is something people are born with. They think some individuals are naturally strong, while others are naturally weak. That belief is mistaken. Mental strength is built, just like physical strength. Imagine someone entering a gym for the first time. The weights feel heavy. The muscles become tired. Progress seems slow, but each workout creates small changes that are almost invisible. Weeks later, those changes become noticeable. Months later, the person is capable of lifting weights that once seemed impossible. The same process happens inside the mind. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to strengthen your thinking. Every obstacle is a chance to develop patience. Every setback teaches a lesson that success often cannot. There is a story about a young woman who dreamed of becoming an architect. After years of study, she applied for her first professional job. She was rejected. Then she applied again. Another rejection. She continued applying. Again and again the answer was no. Eventually she began questioning herself. Perhaps she was not talented enough. Perhaps she had chosen the wrong career. One evening, instead of giving up, she decided to review every interview. She wrote down every mistake. She practiced her communication. She improved her portfolio. She asked experienced professionals for honest feedback. Months later, she received an offer from a respected company. Years after that, she led major design projects around the world. When people admired her success, they saw the buildings she created. They did not see the rejection letters that built the person capable of creating them. Challenges often prepare you for opportunities you cannot yet see. One of the greatest mistakes people make is asking only one question during difficult times. Why is this happening to me? That question usually leads to frustration. Try asking a different question. What can this experience teach me? That simple change transforms your perspective. Instead of becoming a victim of the situation, you become a student of it. Every challenge contains a lesson. Sometimes the lesson is patience. Sometimes it is humility. Sometimes it teaches courage. Sometimes it reveals strengths you never knew you possessed. Life is an excellent teacher, but its lessons often arrive disguised as problems. Think back to one of the hardest seasons of your life. At the time, you may have believed you would never recover. Yet today, you probably understand yourself better because of that experience. Perhaps it taught you who your true friends were. Perhaps it showed you the importance of gratitude. Perhaps it revealed a level of strength you never knew existed. The pain was real, but so was the growth. This is one of life's greatest paradoxes. The experiences we would never choose often become the experiences that shape us the most. Another reason challenges help us grow is that they force us to think differently. When everything is easy, we rarely question our habits. We continue doing what we have always done. Difficulty interrupts comfort. It demands creativity. It asks us to adapt. Imagine a river flowing toward the ocean. One day, a large rock blocks its path. The river does not give up. It does not complain. It simply finds another way. Sometimes it flows around the obstacle. Sometimes it slowly wears the rock away. Sometimes it creates an entirely new path. The river keeps moving. Your mind can learn to do the same. When one path closes, another often appears, but only if you continue moving forward. Mental strength is not stubbornness. It is flexibility. It is the ability to adjust without losing your purpose. There will be moments when your plans fail. Your schedule changes. People disappoint you. Unexpected problems appear. Do not confuse a change of direction with the end of the journey. Sometimes the road changes, the destination does not. Another important lesson is learning to separate failure from identity. Many people say, "I failed." That statement describes an event. Then they say, "I am a failure." That statement attacks their identity. These two ideas are completely different. Every successful person has failed. Inventors have failed. Athletes have failed. Writers have failed. Business leaders have failed. Failure is an experience. It is not a permanent description of who you are. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child falls again and again. No one says, "This child is not meant to walk." Everyone understands that falling is part of learning. Adults often forget this simple truth. They expect themselves to succeed immediately. When they struggle, they become discouraged. Growth has never worked that way. Every new skill requires patience. Every worthwhile goal demands persistence. Do not judge yourself for being a beginner. Respect yourself for continuing. There is another habit that strengthens the mind. It is gratitude during difficult times. This does not mean pretending every problem is good. It means searching for what remains good despite the problem. Imagine losing your job. That experience is painful. Yet perhaps you still have supportive family members. Perhaps you still have your health. Perhaps you now have the opportunity to pursue a new direction. Gratitude does not erase difficulty. It prevents difficulty from becoming the only thing you see. Your focus shapes your emotional experience. When you notice hope, hope grows. When you notice opportunity, opportunity becomes easier to recognize. This does not happen by accident. It happens through intentional practice. Another powerful tool is accepting what you cannot control. Many people waste enormous amounts of energy fighting reality. They replay yesterday's mistakes. They wish people would change. They argue with situations that have already happened. Imagine trying to stop the rain by shouting at the clouds. No matter how loudly you complain, the weather remains the same. Life works in much the same way. Some things are outside your control. The past cannot be changed. Other people's choices belong to them. Unexpected events will always happen. Your response is where your power lives. Every moment spent complaining about what cannot be changed is a moment taken away from what can. There is great freedom in accepting this truth. One practical exercise can help you develop resilience. The next time you face a challenge, write 2 lists. On one side, write everything you cannot control. On the other side, write everything you can control. Perhaps you cannot control the economy, but you can improve your skills. Perhaps you cannot control another person's opinion, but you can control your attitude. Perhaps you cannot erase yesterday, but you can decide what you will do today. Spend your energy on the second list. That is where progress begins. Mental strength also grows through responsibility. It is easy to blame circumstances. It is easy to blame luck. It is easy to blame other people. Responsibility is different. Responsibility asks, what can I do now? Even if your situation is unfair, even if someone else caused the problem. Taking responsibility gives you something blame never can. It gives you influence. Blame keeps you stuck. Responsibility moves you forward. Remember that resilience is not built during peaceful seasons. It is built during difficult ones. Calm waters do not teach sailors how to navigate storms. Storms do. Likewise, easy days do not reveal the depth of your character. Hard days do. Every challenge asks the same question. Will you become smaller because of this? Or will you become stronger because of this? The answer is found in your daily choices. Choose patience instead of panic. Choose learning instead of bitterness. Choose persistence instead of surrender. Choose hope instead of despair. Each decision strengthens your mind. Each challenge becomes another opportunity to grow. One day, someone may ask how you became so calm under pressure. how you remained hopeful during difficult seasons, how you continued moving forward when others gave up. Your answer will not be found in your easiest days. It will be found in the challenges you refuse to let define you. Those moments shaped your character. They deepened your wisdom. They strengthened your courage. And they prepared you for a future that only a stronger version of yourself could handle. Never wish for a life without challenges. Wish for the wisdom to learn from them. Wish for the courage to face them. Wish for the discipline to keep moving through them. Because every challenge carries two possibilities. It can become the weight that holds you down, or it can become the resistance that makes you stronger. The choice belongs to you. Choose growth. Choose resilience. Choose the mindset that sees every obstacle not as the end of the journey, but as another step toward becoming the strongest version of yourself. Chapter 8. Think like the person you want to become. Every great achievement begins long before anyone else can see it. It begins with the way a person thinks. Before an athlete wins a championship, they think like a champion. Before an entrepreneur builds a successful company, they think like a leader. Before a writer finishes a book, they think like an author. The outer result always follows the inner identity. This is why changing your thinking is more powerful than simply changing your actions. Actions may create temporary success. Identity creates lasting transformation. Most people ask themselves the wrong question. They ask, what do I need to do to become successful? That question is useful, but there is a better one. Who do I need to become? The answer to that question changes everything. Imagine an actor preparing for an important role. The actor does not simply memorize lines. They study the character. They understand the person's habits. They learn how the character speaks, how they walk, how they respond to challenges. For a time, they begin thinking from the character's perspective. Eventually, their actions naturally reflect that identity. Life works in a similar way. You cannot consistently act like someone you do not believe you are. Your actions always return to your strongest beliefs about yourself. If you believe you are careless, you will eventually act carelessly. If you believe you are disciplined, your daily decisions begin reflecting that belief. Your identity quietly guides your behavior. Think about someone who decides to become healthier. One person says, I am trying to lose weight. Another says, I am becoming someone who takes care of my body. The first person focuses on a temporary goal. The second focuses on a lasting identity. Goals have an ending. Identity becomes a way of living. This is why lasting change begins with the mind. There is a story about two stonecutters working side by side. A traveler asked the first man, "What are you doing?" The worker replied, "I am cutting stones." The traveler asked the second man the same question. The second smiled and answered, "I am building a cathedral." Both men were doing the same work, but they were thinking differently. One saw a task, the other saw a purpose. Purpose changes perspective. Perspective changes effort. Effort changes results. Your mind needs a clear picture of the person you want to become. Without that picture, it is easy to drift through life. Imagine trying to sail across the ocean without a destination. The wind may move the boat, but it cannot guide it. Direction always comes before progress. Take a moment and imagine your future self, not the version shaped by fear, not the version limited by doubt. Imagine the person you genuinely hope to become. How do they begin their mornings? How do they speak to other people? How do they respond to disappointment? How do they spend their free time? How do they treat themselves when they make mistakes? The answers to these questions reveal more than your future. They reveal the habits you should begin practicing today. Your future identity is built one decision at a time. Many people believe confidence comes after success. In reality, confidence often begins with keeping small promises to yourself. Imagine two people preparing for an important presentation. The first person waits until the last minute. The second prepares carefully every day. When the presentation begins, who feels more confident? Confidence rarely appears by accident. It grows from preparation. It grows from discipline. It grows from repeated evidence that you can trust yourself. Every promise you keep strengthens your identity. Every promise you break weakens it. This is why integrity with yourself matters so much. If you tell yourself you will wake up early, then do it. If you promise yourself 30 minutes of reading, keep that promise. These actions may seem small, but they quietly shape the person you believe yourself to be. Your identity is not created by one dramatic moment. It is created by repeated choices. There is another important truth. The people around you influence the way you think. Imagine placing a single piece of charcoal beside a fire. Eventually it becomes hot. Now place the same piece of charcoal in cold water. It quickly loses its warmth. The environment always has influence. This is why choosing your relationships wisely is so important. Spend time with people who encourage growth. Spend time with people who value honesty. Spend time with people who challenge you to become better. You do not become successful by copying another person's life, but you do become stronger by learning from people with strong character. Their habits begin shaping your own. Their attitudes influence your perspective. Their discipline reminds you of what is possible. Another powerful habit is protecting the stories you tell yourself. Many people constantly repeat old mistakes. I always fail. I never finish anything. I am not talented enough. These stories become familiar. Then they become beliefs. Eventually they become identity. Replace those stories with truthful ones. Do not pretend you are perfect. Instead, remind yourself of who you are becoming. Say to yourself, I am learning. I am growing. I become stronger through practice. I keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. Words influence thought. Thought influences action. Action shapes identity. Identity shapes destiny. One day, a young apprentice visited an experienced craftsman. The apprentice admired the beautiful furniture filling the workshop. He asked, "How did you become so skilled?" The old craftsman smiled. "I did not become skilled in one day." He picked up a small piece of wood. "I learned to sand one piece carefully." He picked up a hammer. "I learned to make one careful strike." He smiled again. Every masterpiece is simply thousands of small moments done with care. The same is true of your character. No one becomes wise overnight. No one becomes disciplined in a single morning. No one develops strong character through one good decision. Character grows quietly. One honest choice. One disciplined action, one kind response, one courageous step, then another, and another. Eventually people notice what took years to build. Many people spend too much time chasing results. Results matter, but results are temporary. Character lasts. Imagine receiving a large amount of money without learning how to manage it. Soon the money disappears. Now imagine developing wisdom, patience, and discipline. Those qualities continue creating value throughout your life. This is why becoming is always more important than having. If you become the right person, many of the things you desire naturally become more attainable. Let us also talk about responsibility. Thinking like the person you want to become means accepting ownership of your life. It means refusing to blame everyone else for your circumstances. This does not mean life is always fair. It is not. Sometimes you will experience loss. Sometimes people will disappoint you. Sometimes opportunities will be taken away. But your response remains your responsibility. Strong people ask different questions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What can I learn from this? What can I do next? How can I become stronger because of this experience?" These questions keep the mind moving forward. Progress always begins with responsibility. Another important practice is delayed gratification. The person you want to become understands that meaningful rewards take time. Imagine planting an apple tree. You do not expect fruit the following week. You water it, you protect it, you wait patiently. Eventually the harvest arrives. Many people quit too early because they expect immediate results. The future belongs to those who continue planting even when they cannot yet see the harvest. Patience is not passive. Patience is disciplined persistence. As this chapter comes to a close, pause for a moment. Picture the person you hope to become 5 years from now. See that person clearly. Notice their calm confidence. Notice their discipline. Notice their kindness. Notice the peace in their mind. Now ask yourself one final question. What would that person choose today? Perhaps they would read instead of scrolling through endless distractions. Perhaps they would forgive instead of holding on to resentment. Perhaps they would exercise instead of making excuses. Perhaps they would speak with honesty instead of fear. Whatever the answer may be, begin living it now. Do not wait until success arrives before changing your thinking. Think like the person you want to become before the results appear. Your thoughts will guide your actions. Your actions will build your habits. Your habits will shape your character. Your character will create your future. Remember this truth. You are not becoming someone completely different. You are uncovering the strongest version of the person you were always capable of being. Every choice you make either strengthens that identity or weakens it. Choose wisely. Choose consistently. Choose courage over comfort. Choose discipline over excuses. Choose growth over fear. Because the life you dream about does not begin on the day everything changes around you. It begins on the day your thinking changes within you. And when your mind begins leading you toward the person you are meant to become, the rest of your life slowly follows in the same direction. Chapter 9. Live with purpose, discipline, and peace. What does it mean to live a successful life? Ask 10 different people, and you may hear 10 different answers. Some will say success is money. Others will say it is power. Some will describe fame. Others will talk about freedom. These things may bring comfort. They may even bring opportunity, but none of them guarantee peace. History is filled with people who achieved great success while quietly struggling within themselves. They reached the top of their profession. They earned respect from others. Yet they never found peace in their own minds. This teaches us an important lesson. A successful life is not simply measured by what you achieve. It is measured by who you become while achieving it. Throughout this book, you have learned how to recognize your inner voice. You have discovered why the mind often resists change. You have challenged limiting beliefs. You have learned to manage your emotions. You have strengthened your focus. You have built habits that support growth. You have learned to transform challenges into opportunities. You have begun thinking like the person you want to become. Now it is time to bring all of these lessons together, because controlling your mind is not the final destination. It is the foundation for living a meaningful life. 3 qualities will guide that life: purpose, discipline, peace. Each one strengthens the others. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. Without discipline, purpose remains only a dream. Without peace, success never feels complete. Let us begin with purpose. Purpose is not simply having a job. It is not a title. It is not a position. Purpose is knowing why you do what you do. Imagine 2 people building the same bridge. One works only to receive a paycheck. The other believes the bridge will connect families, create opportunities, and improve lives. Both complete the same tasks, yet one works with greater energy, greater patience, greater pride. The work becomes meaningful because the purpose is clear. Life is much the same. When your purpose is clear, ordinary actions become extraordinary. Waking up early has meaning. Learning new skills has meaning. Serving other people has meaning. Even difficult seasons become easier to endure because you know what you are working toward. Many people spend years searching for purpose. They believe it arrives like a sudden lightning strike. Often it grows much more quietly. Purpose is discovered by paying attention. What work gives you energy? What problems do you enjoy solving? What values matter most to you? How do you hope people will remember you? The answers to these questions point toward your purpose. Do not worry if your purpose is not fully clear today. Keep moving. Purpose often becomes clearer through action, not through waiting. Now let us talk about discipline. Discipline has an unfair reputation. Many people think discipline removes freedom. The opposite is true. Discipline creates freedom. Imagine two students preparing for an important examination. The first studies consistently for several months. The second spends those months avoiding the work. As the examination approaches, who experiences greater freedom? The prepared student sleeps peacefully. The unprepared student lives with stress. Discipline created peace. Lack of discipline created pressure. This pattern appears throughout life. Financial discipline creates freedom. Healthy habits create freedom. Emotional discipline creates stronger relationships. Mental discipline creates clearer thinking. Every meaningful form of freedom is supported by some form of discipline. Think of a musician. People admire the beautiful performance on stage. Few people think about the thousands of hours spent practicing alone. The freedom to perform confidently was earned through disciplined preparation. The same principle applies to every area of life. Small daily disciplines create extraordinary long-term results. One page read each day becomes many books. One healthy meal becomes a healthier body. One thoughtful decision becomes a stronger character. Do not underestimate small actions. They become the story of your life. Now let us explore peace. Many people search for peace in external circumstances. They believe peace will arrive after they earn more money, after they buy a larger home, after they receive recognition, after life becomes easier. Yet peace does not begin outside you, it begins within. Imagine standing beside a quiet lake early in the morning. The water is calm, the surface reflects the sky perfectly. Now imagine throwing stones into the water. The reflection disappears, the lake becomes restless. Your mind works in a similar way. Constant worry, uncontrolled anger, endless comparison, fear about the future, regret about the past. These thoughts disturb your inner peace. The solution is not escaping the world. The solution is learning how to remain calm within it. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of stability during problems. There is an old story about a king searching for the perfect painting of peace. Many artists submitted their work. One painting showed a beautiful lake beneath a clear blue sky. Everyone admired it. Another painting surprised the judges. It showed dark clouds, heavy rain, powerful waterfalls crashing against rocks. Yet hidden beside the waterfall was a small bird resting calmly in its nest. The king chose the second painting. He explained, "True peace is not found where there is no storm. True peace is found where the storm cannot steal your calm." That is the kind of peace worth pursuing. Life will always contain uncertainty. Unexpected problems will appear. People will disappoint you. Plans will change. But a disciplined mind can remain steady. One of the greatest enemies of peace is comparison. The moment you constantly measure your life against someone else's, gratitude begins to disappear. There will always be someone richer, someone more talented, someone more experienced. If comparison becomes your habit, satisfaction becomes impossible. Instead, compare yourself with the person you were yesterday. Have you become kinder, more patient, more disciplined, more courageous? That is progress worth celebrating. Gratitude is another foundation of peace. Every day, your mind decides where to place its attention. It can focus on what is missing, or it can notice what already exists. Imagine two neighbors walking through the same garden. One notices only the weeds, the other notices the flowers. Both observations are true, but each person experiences the garden differently. Life offers the same choice. Notice the blessings that already surround you, the people who love you, the lessons you have learned, the opportunities you still have. Gratitude does not ignore difficulty. It simply refuses to let difficulty become the entire story. There is another habit that brings peace. Learn to release what you cannot control. Many people carry unnecessary burdens every day. They replay old conversations. They worry about tomorrow. They wish they could change the past. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents something beyond your control. Every step becomes more exhausting. Now imagine putting the backpack down. The road has not changed, but your ability to walk has. Letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. Hold tightly to your values. Hold lightly to things beyond your control. Peace grows where acceptance begins. Another important truth is that your life does not need to be perfect to be meaningful. Many people postpone happiness. I will be happy when I earn more. I will be happy when life becomes easier. I will be happy after I achieve my goal. The problem is that life keeps moving. There is always another goal, another challenge, another mountain to climb. If happiness always lives in the future, it never arrives. Learn to appreciate today. Celebrate small victories. Enjoy meaningful conversations. Notice quiet moments. A peaceful life is built from ordinary days, lived with extraordinary awareness. Remember that your influence extends beyond yourself. People notice how you respond to pressure. They notice your patience. They notice your kindness. They notice your integrity. Whether you realize it or not, your life teaches others every day. Live in a way that inspires hope, not through perfection, through consistency. One calm response during conflict may encourage someone else to remain calm. One act of kindness may change another person's day. One example of discipline may inspire someone to change their own life. Never underestimate the quiet influence of good character. As this chapter draws to a close, imagine reaching the final years of your life. Imagine looking back over everything you have experienced. What will matter most? It will not be every mistake. It will not be every disappointment. It will not be every possession you collected. You will remember the people you loved, the lives you touched, the promises you kept, the courage you showed, the peace you carried through difficult seasons. That is a meaningful life. Purpose gives your life direction. Discipline gives your life strength. Peace gives your life joy. Together they create a life that is not only successful in the eyes of the world, but deeply fulfilling in your own heart. Remember the greatest lesson of this entire journey. You cannot control every event that happens to you. You cannot control every opinion people have about you. You cannot control every challenge life places in your path. But you can always control the person you choose to become. Choose purpose over distraction. Choose discipline over comfort. Choose peace over chaos. Make these choices every day, not because life will become perfect, but because you will become stronger. And when your mind is guided by purpose, strengthened by discipline, and filled with peace, you discover a remarkable truth. The greatest victory you will ever achieve is not over the world around you. It is over the world within you. That victory is available to you every single day. Choose it, live it, protect it, and allow it to shape the rest of your life. Conclusion. Control your mind, change your life. You have reached the end of this book, but in many ways you are standing at a new beginning. Knowledge has value, understanding has power, but neither one changes your life until you put it into action. The purpose of this book was never to fill your mind with information. Its purpose was to help you transform the way you think, because every lasting change begins there, in your mind. Take a moment to reflect on the journey you have just completed. You learned that there is a voice inside your head. You discovered that you do not have to believe every thought it speaks. You learned why your mind often chooses comfort over growth. You uncovered the hidden beliefs that quietly shaped your decisions. You discovered how to respond to emotions instead of being controlled by them. You learned how to protect your attention in a noisy world. You explored the power of small habits. You discovered that challenges can become your greatest teachers. You learned to think like the person you want to become. And finally, you saw how purpose, discipline, and peace can guide every part of your life. Each lesson points toward one simple truth. The quality of your life depends greatly on the quality of your mind. Many people spend years trying to change the outside world. They chase better jobs. They search for perfect circumstances. They wait for the right opportunity. There is nothing wrong with pursuing improvement, but lasting change begins within. A peaceful mind creates wiser decisions. Wiser decisions create better habits. Better habits build stronger character. Stronger character creates a better life. Everything is connected. Imagine planting a tree. You cannot force it to grow overnight. You cannot pull on its branches to make it taller. Growth happens gradually. The same is true for personal transformation. Some days you will feel confident. Other days you will struggle. Some mornings discipline will come easily. Other mornings you will need to choose it again. This is normal. Do not expect perfection. Expect progress. Progress is built through consistency. Remember that every small decision matters. Every time you choose patience instead of anger, your mind grows stronger. Every time you choose courage instead of fear, your confidence grows. Every time you choose focus instead of distraction, your future becomes clearer. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your character becomes stronger. Small decisions seem ordinary. Repeated over months and years, they become extraordinary. There will be days when your inner voice tells you to quit. It will tell you that change is too difficult. It will remind you of past failures. It will encourage you to stay where life feels comfortable. When those moments come, remember everything you have learned. Pause. Listen carefully. Ask yourself whether the voice is speaking truth or simply repeating an old fear. Then make your decision based on your values, not your temporary emotions. Remember that fear often appears before growth. Difficulty often appears before progress. Discomfort often appears before transformation. Do not mistake temporary discomfort for permanent failure. Keep moving forward. One step is enough. Then take another. Life is not changed in one dramatic moment. It is changed one choice at a time. You may wonder how long this journey will take. The answer is simple. It lasts a lifetime. The mind is like a garden. It requires regular care. If you ignore it, weeds begin to grow. Negative thoughts return. Old habits quietly reappear. Fear slowly takes root. But when you care for your mind every day, something beautiful happens. Wisdom grows, discipline grows, gratitude grows, peace grows. Your daily habits become the water that nourishes the garden. Protect what you allow into your mind. Choose books that inspire growth. Spend time with people who encourage honesty and kindness. Learn from those who challenge you to become better. Limit the voices that fill your mind with fear, anger, or constant negativity. Your environment influences your thinking more than you may realize. Guard your attention carefully. There is another truth worth remembering. You will make mistakes. Everyone does. You will have days when you lose your patience, days when you become distracted, days when you fall back into old habits. Do not let one mistake become your identity. One difficult day does not erase months of progress. Begin again. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to make better choices. Self-improvement is not about never falling. It is about refusing to stay down. Imagine a lighthouse standing beside the ocean. Storms come. Powerful waves crash against the rocks. Strong winds shake everything around it. Yet the lighthouse remains steady, not because the storms disappear, because its foundation is strong. Build your mind like that lighthouse. Let your values become your foundation. Let discipline become your strength. Let purpose become your direction. Let peace become your constant companion. Then, no matter what storms arrive, you will remain standing. As you continue your journey, ask yourself these simple questions each day. What kind of person am I becoming? What thoughts deserve my attention? What habits deserve my energy? What action can I take today that my future self will thank me for? You do not need to change your entire life today. You only need to take the next right step. One thoughtful decision, one meaningful habit, one courageous action. Those small choices will slowly transform everything else. Never forget that the greatest battles in life are rarely fought in public. They are fought quietly within the mind. The battle between fear and courage, between discipline and comfort, between hope and doubt, between purpose and distraction. Every day you win those battles, you become stronger. Not because life becomes easier, because you become wiser, because you become more resilient, because you become more intentional. One day, people may notice the confidence in your voice. They may admire your calmness during difficult situations. They may wonder how you remain focused when others become distracted. They will see the results. Only you will know the quiet work that created them. They will not see the mornings when you chose discipline. They will not see the evenings when you reflected instead of giving up. They will not hear the silent conversations where you chose truth over fear. Those invisible moments are where your real transformation happened. As this book comes to a close, carry one final message with you. You are not defined by your past. You are not limited by your mistakes. You are not trapped by your fears. Every new day offers a new decision, and every decision shapes the person you become. The power to change your life has never been outside you. It has always been within your own mind. So protect it, train it, challenge it, strengthen it, feed it with wisdom, guide it with discipline, fill it with hope, and let it become your greatest ally. Because when you control your mind, you begin to control your choices. When you control your choices, you shape your habits. When you shape your habits, you shape your character. When you shape your character, you shape your destiny. That is the true power of mastering your mind. That is the path to lasting growth. That is the foundation of a meaningful life. This book may be ending. Your journey is just beginning. Walk forward with courage. Live with purpose. Choose discipline. Protect your peace. And remember this truth every single day. Control your mind first. Everything else will follow.